Hello everybody, welcome back to SkySaga Alpha 4. We are back here on the SheepBall home island, and once again a little bit of work has been done between episodes. So this time around I've actually got all of the flags set up here on the SheepBall home island. This is all of the flags that we're going to have, at least for the time being. And all of these now do correspond to something. So in locations where I haven't actually built the attraction yet, I'm just leaving flags to mark where I want to build the next attraction. So the red one here is another build that we'll get to in a couple of weeks' time, I think. And then we've got the purple for the maze. It used to be in the archery section, but I thought it worked better for the maze castle that we have going on over there. We've also got a brand new one over here. We've got pink over here, which is actually going to be another game, but this one is actually going to go all the way up the top and run along over towards the other floating island there. I want to use these kind of floating islands as much as I possibly can while I'm working around here. So that's about it. There's also been a touch of work done out here on this SheepBall Stadium. This is just getting the outline done, just getting all of that sorted, but it's going to take a lot of blindstone, so I'm definitely going to need to keep working on that one, but probably at a later date. So today's episode is going to be just that little bit shorter. I'm actually halfway through exam and exam study right now, so I don't have quite as much time to play as I usually do, which means that this episode is going to be just a bit shorter. And we're going to be kind of more tidying up around here and just getting a few of the jobs done that I wanted to do before releasing this thing, because I still haven't actually put that post up. It is something that I've been working on, and every time I'm about to do it, I find some more things around here that I want to do. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to make sure all of those things are done and dusted before we release this. So the first thing I do want to do is I actually want to add in some elevators over here. Because at the moment we're just using these two spring traps, which, while they do work, it's not perfect, and it definitely could be better. We also need to add some sand and some pickaxes up here so that you can actually play the game properly, I guess. So we are here over on my home island. I'm just crafting up a few doors to make those elevators that I was talking about. And I wanted to show you this. This is something I've been working on between episodes. It is a chessboard. I've been working pretty closely with Brownie Pie and also had a bit of help from Sarinthia as well to get this thing up and running. Like I said, it's been something I've been kind of slowly working on as people have been finding recipes. I've been trying different bits and pieces out and seeing how it all looks. But this is actually going to be transported over to the SheepBall Island today, hopefully. But we're going to build up those elevators first, and then we'll come back here and collect all of these pieces up together and jump back over there to add it into the SheepBall Island, because this will actually be quite a cool game. I am a little bit disappointed in the set though, because the king, I was trying to have all of the pieces as a one decor item piece. However, to make the king look right, the king kind of needs to be up above the rest of the pieces, so I actually had to add in a pillar piece down the bottom down here. But it doesn't look too bad, and it definitely works better with the king up the top there like that. So I think this is good for now. So I'm going to go down into my base and we'll collect up these doors and start on getting these things done, getting these elevators set up and running so that people can actually use these games. So the foundation for these elevators has actually gone down. So this is going to be pretty easy. I reckon we're just going to do up a very small elevator. The other thing is that we don't actually need to have this spring trap that we're going to put in this pillar as high as we possibly can. It only really needs to go about 6 blocks above the ground to actually give the full kick necessary to get up onto the head of the snake and the top of the owl up there. Which means that this is actually going to be a very simple build to achieve, because we don't need to worry about continuously counting how far up we've gone with all of these things, which will be nice. It will mean that the build goes a lot faster. So that is the first elevator in place. However, it actually used a door more than I thought I was going to need, which It's a bit of a pain, but that's okay. I just need to go home and make some more doors. And then, of course, we're going to come back around the back here and build another elevator up the back of the owl. This one shouldn't be a problem. Now that we've got one in place, we should pretty easily be able to get the second one in place. And then once that's done, we can just put a few pickaxes and some sand up the top here, and then this game will be ready to go, ready to play. That will be awesome. And done. This elevator is now in. So this game is actually pretty close to being ready, which is awesome. So I'm actually going to separate those flags out because my kind of idea with putting the two flags close together is that any game or event that I haven't actually set up yet is going to just be marked out by two flags relatively close to each other. So these two can now separate out and let people into this game, which would be really cool. And yeah, so now we've got the two elevators up the back. They don't look too good, but then again, these things were never supposed to be freestanding. They are statues for a game, so it's fine to have the elevators off the back. Now this area out here, this is where we're actually going to be building the chess game, or we're going to be moving the chess game over to, because of course that needs a home on this island. So I'm thinking, yeah, we're going to build it out here. We're probably going to also build not only the 8x8 chess area, but we're going to build some viewing platforms as well, because those chess pieces are as big as the player, which means you are actually going to need a vantage point to stand up somewhere else and have a look down across the board. So that's the next trick. I think we're going to jump back home and come back here with all of the chess pieces and set up a board somewhere around here. I've hit a little bit of a snag. I thought I was going to be able to do this all in one trip, but unfortunately I can't. I've actually managed to fill my rucksack completely full of chess pieces, which means I'm definitely going to have to come back and get these other pieces in a little bit after we've dropped off the rest of this stuff. So I was thinking that the easiest way to do this would be to mine out the actual chessboard itself, take that with us. We can work out positioning and placement of the chessboard first, and then place down the pieces we have and come back for the pieces that we don't. So I'm going to keep mining all of this stuff out. It's going to take a little while, but we'll get there, and then we can work out exactly where we want this chessboard to go and all of that kind of stuff. So I want to potentially push it back a little bit, give maybe 4 blocks in, 5 blocks in. Maybe we'll start back here behind somewhere. Now, of course, my rucksack is full, which means that all of this dirt is going to go everywhere. So how about we throw away some of this stuff and pick that up, because we don't want to leave all of that dirt in the hole, because otherwise it will be covered up by other blocks and we want to be able to pick it back up again. So 14 wide, that means that we want to start the chessboard here and 3 in from this wall. 1, 2, 3 there. If I've got that right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I messed up. There we go. That should be a bit better. So now I'm going to clear out this area here. We'll get rid of all of these blocks, and I'll see you in a sec when we're putting in the actual stone for all of this. And there we go, the area has been dug out. It is a little bit close to this wall, but we really don't have a lot of extra space on either side, so this is going to have to do for the moment. Now, of course, we need to put the chessboard in. Now, if you saw on my home island, we actually had a bit of a ring going around the outside. That's because of this grass texture here that will connect up and break up the pattern of the board. So actually what we're going to do is, once we've finished putting in the board like this, we're going to ring around the edge with, I think, some coral stone would look nice, because we used the green stone in the desert world to break up the color that we were looking at. So we can do the same thing here and just use a bit of the coral stone, which will look good. So it's going to take me a little bit of time to get all of these blocks into place. And we are done. There we go. That is the base of the board and what the base of the board is going to look like. So next thing we need to do, obviously, is put all of our pieces down and then work out some form of viewing platform that's going to be tall enough to be able to see all of the pieces and where all of the pieces are. Thought I would just pull you back in quickly while I was placing these pieces to show you how the king gets placed in the easiest way possible. So you simply put a block of sand down, place the king up like that, remove the sand out from under him, and then place a pillar base under like that, and then you end up with the full-sized king. Makes it a lot quicker and easier to actually deal with placing that king pretty much anywhere you like. And I mean, as the king doesn't really move all that often, it's not going to happen too many times during a game, so I don't really think it's a problem having an extra piece in underneath like that. And of course we also got to put pawns down the front here as well. So this set is actually quite expensive, especially these pawns. These are 18 carved stone per pawn as far as I remember, which means that there's quite a lot of windstone gone into this one set. So of course that's the one side done. We should put down the other side and collect the rest of the pieces for this board. Now, I've just placed all of these pieces down and realized that it would make a lot more sense to have them facing off from left to right on this board rather than having them face off front to back like this. At least this way, kind of wandering down this path, somewhere along here you can actually see what's going on with the chessboard and see if people are playing and all that kind of stuff. Whereas with them this way, once I put in these back pieces, the view was going to be pretty blocked by everything like that. So I better get busy, pick all of these pieces back up and move them to where I think they should be. That is a little bit of a pain, but I'm glad I caught it now rather than when I'd actually put all of the pieces in place. So I'll catch you back here in a sec when I've moved all the stuff around and grabbed the new pieces. Just coming back from collecting the next set of pieces, and I honestly don't like this orange now that I've seen it on the mini-map and I've kind of walked away and come back. I don't like it as much. So I think we're going to pull this out and replace it with something else. Maybe the windstone, but we might even try the bloomstone and see how that looks as well. But for now, we should put in the next couple of pieces. So we'll put in the king first, just so I can show you once again how all of that stuff is done. We'll grab these two pieces, throw the king top down, come back around here, remove the sand, and put the base in. Realistically, you could actually play with that king piece with sand under it for an entire game, and it really wouldn't make too much of a difference, but I don't know, I personally like having a second decor item underneath it. Now, all of these things are actually crafted with blendstone for the black side and windstone for the white side. Any pieces like this oil lamp that need metal and jewels to be involved get iron and black jewels or white jewels depending on the side. So in fact this one actually has the white jewels in it and that one has the black jewels in it, just to give them a little bit of contrast and a little bit more kind of intrigue to them. And I'd like to thank Brownie Pie for coming up with that idea, because that actually works really well, I think. So we're almost done here, about to put in the final couple of pieces. Just like, whoops, missed that one. Just like that. And then of course we do need to build viewing platforms as well. So considering how close this back wall is, they're going to have to be a viewing platform pretty close to the board itself. So what I'm thinking about doing is perhaps rather than doing a staircase up and a platform, I might even just do some arcs running back and forth like this. But I don't know, the idea of doing a kind of staircase up here and then a big platform running all the way around these three sides and then coming back down again over here is not sounding too bad right now either. So I'm thinking we're going to replace this guy and move on and try and see if we can get a nice looking balcony slash viewing platform going. So I've put down the two candidates for the ring around the edge of this chessboard. We've either got The purple here, which is the crown stone, I like the look of that actually, and it doesn't really blend with the grass so much. Whereas if we go over here and have a look at the bloomstone, you can see it kind of blends in with the grass, and I don't know, I don't think that's really what I'm after. I think I like the look of the crown stone. And of course, purple historically was a bit of a royal color, and chess is a royal game, so I think it all fits in nicely. Although we might actually use the greenstone the bloomstone to build our observatory deck around the top for players to see what it is they're doing. This combination here is just too similar to really work out what's going on. So I'm definitely gonna get rid of all of that, put in the crown stone, and then we can work out what we're doing with the deck that's going around the top. So this is the height that I'm thinking about building up to for the deck around the top that allows you to see the chessboard. And I think it works quite well for most pieces. If we kind of wander around here, you can see that, you know, even with the two high pieces in front, you can still see where the pawns are. The only problem really is the king, who kind of blocks a view of a lot of things. But if we have a deck that kind of wanders around the back top like this, you can get around and you can see different bits and pieces, and you can stand up here and strategize and plan your move, or wait for your opponent to finish off the move that they are currently making. So this is the idea. We're almost there with this build actually now. So all I need to do now is bring this forwards, and then we're going to have to build a staircase down from this thing to the ground level. And then of course we need to place our flags down. They're probably just going to go down the front near the staircase somewhere, probably on the inside or maybe on the outside. We'll see how I feel when we pull this staircase down. And then that will be it. This chessboard will be done and dusted, finished and ready to use, which will be pretty cool to see. Okay, so I'm going to quickly finish this up, build the staircase down, and I'll talk to you in a bit. And there it is, one completed chessboard. I really like the look of that and love the way this thing has come together. So I think we're going to be moving on from here. We've got a few other small odd jobs around the place to finish up this episode, but I am definitely running out of time to record. So some of them I may actually have to do off camera between episodes, but one of the things I want to do is I want to get rid of this big messy blue patch out the back here. As you can see, I've extended the path all the way out to our stadium edge here. And I've also kind of closed off this area here with a bit of grass. So it'd be nice to get back here at some point and remove all of this stone and replace it all with grass. But like I said, I'm running out of time, so we may not end up doing that one today. So the other quick few little bits and pieces that I want to do, I want to have a look at changing this path up a little bit. This path is okay, but it would look a little bit nicer if it was kind of more worn in and a little bit rough around the edges. So the way we're going to do that, we're going to grab some gravel and place it in random spots in the path. Just kind of all over the place, make it look a little bit more torn up, a little bit used. And this will probably look quite good. So I need to go and grab the gravel, and I'll be back with you in a sec. So there we go, that's what this is going to look like. It's just going to kind of break up this brown pattern just a little bit as you're kind of wandering up and down the path. It's not too intrusive, it's just kind of a nice little touch of detail. Obviously I can't really do too much on the edges like here, because that's going to look pretty weird, I think, if I put one down. Oh, okay, it's actually going to look not too bad, so I think we'll leave that one in there. I'm just going to run around all over the place and add some holes, throw some gravel down into them, and we'll end up with a kind of nicer looking path. Just something that's not quite the straight brick texture will be good. It'd be nice to have, you know, just a little bit of a change. So the last thing we're going to do today is build up a bit of a storage room, and we're going to probably build it up around here. Now, we're doing this because at the moment all of the building materials that I've been using have just been stored down in the portal area, and they've just been kind of thrown all over the ground and just kind of left there like that. But with the park opening very soon, I want to kind of secure them and put them in a fancier, better location. So we're going to build probably a giant chest out here in this kind of area here, I reckon. And then that way we'll store all of our chests in there and put all of the stone and materials and stuff that we've got left over into this building. So this is the base of the build. We're actually going to scale up the chest to 10 blocks by 10 blocks by 10 blocks. So this is what the base of the build is going to look like. Obviously I'm going to need to do a little bit of clearing. I need to get rid of this tree and this tree, but we can do that as we build this thing up a little bit more. So I think I'm going to crack on, keep going. We're going to end up with something that looks like these groundwood chests over here, but hopefully in a much larger scale. I'm still trying to work out how much of the detail I want to put into these things. Do I try and put in the recesses and all this kind of stuff, or do I just leave them as flat boxes? I'm not really sure. I'm going to try with the recesses to start with, and then build up from there, and we'll see how all of that looks when it goes in. Okay, so I'm going to build up part of the front, and then we can talk about how it's going. So that's the front of the chest in place. I think I like the recesses where they are, but I don't like the lock at the front. I think it's just a little bit too big, so what we might do is get rid of this bottom row of gold and see how it looks then. Might look just that little bit better, I think. Yeah, no, that didn't really help too much. I'm going to have to play around with this a little bit and see how it looks the best. But as you can see, we still have the sides and the back to do. So we've just done the front right now. But I don't know, other than that, I think I actually like the way this is looking. The gold and the wood do work really, really well together. So I'm just going to quickly throw some sides on this and we'll come back. Just another quick progress update. So I've got the front and the back on. I've also carved out a little hole in here that's going to be the doorway. So you can see now kind of how much area we're going to have in here, and it will probably be just enough. We're going to probably line the sides here with chests, and that will give us just enough storage for all of the stone and bits and pieces that we've got to do. So this is actually going pretty well. I'm liking having all of the recessed pieces in the structure. I think it looks good. Like I said, I need to put the sides on yet, but other than that, I think this is actually coming along quite well. So I'm going to throw the sides on. We're also going to put some handles on as well, because we've got these little handles that are going to stick out just a little bit further out. So this thing is actually going to be 12 wide, but I don't think that's too much of a problem at all. The only real big issue for me, I guess, is that you can kind of see this thing over top of this wall, but that's not too bad. I mean, once this is filled in, it will look a whole lot better. So I'm going to throw these sides on, and I'll show you that when it's all done. So there we go. The chest building is now all finished. All that remains is to actually fill this thing with chests and, you know, move all of the stuff over here as well. I want to put a door in here. I'll just put a gold and groundwood single door, I think. But the rest of that stuff is going to have to happen off camera because I have completely and totally run out of time to do all of these recordings. So there we go, that is it for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you all next time.